Alright, well, thank you very much for your patience. And I received some questions over the week, well, over the last 2 or 3 days, I think. And I wanted to make the video based on those questions specifically, but I noticed that some of the questions that you were asking had a complete context behind. So I decided to um, take those specific questions and put them into context. And well, I did this. It was a little bit more complex than I expected at first, but I hope it's even more useful than what I was going to present you first of all. Well, it's not complete, it's not finished yet, but I wanted to pass this to you because I think that if this video is too long, it's going to be quite boring. So let's get started. Things that you should know to pass the FCE. I tried to come up with different ideas that we have to put together, and it's not going to be possible for me to explain every one of the possibilities that exist in so little time, but I hope that this is enough to make you understand how you can get prepared for this, what kind of stuff you have to study, have to practice. I know a lot of you are teachers, just like me, and we have a lot in common. Um, you're doing this for your job. I've seen all the information you sent me, and it's great because this is not only for your job. In fact, it's very useful for many things. An international certification um, proves not only your knowledge and validates your knowledge, but it gives you a lot of different things. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Okay, let's go straight to this. So here we go. It says what you should know in order to pass the FCE. Well, in general, you need. I want you to observe this, and I want you to get my point. Okay, we are not going to we're not going to see all the different cases that exist in comparative superlatives. That's not for us. We already have a higher level of English, so what we have to do is know how to use and how to take that English we already know to a higher level. It's not that difficult. It requires a little bit of understanding of structures and creativity, also a little bit of that. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Comparisons from simple to complex ones. We all know that if we want to say that Anna is, I don't know, 1 meter 80 and John is 1 meter 60, Anna is taller than John, right? But I can use certain words or expressions in order to that are intensifiers to make the comparison larger or smaller. Yeah, Anna is far taller than John. Anna is a lot taller than John. It's just a bit taller than John. John is not even as tall as Anna, or John is not as tall as Anna, right? That's another way to say the same thing. But I can make it a little bit more complex by saying John is not even as tall as Anna was when she was his age. So what am I doing? I'm just adding information and I'm making this sentence more complex. This is very useful for the parts of for the fourth part of the use of English section, because you have to transform one sentence into another without changing the meaning. This is very useful for that. I'm not talking about the comparison only, but I'm talking about the way in which you can make a simple sentence more complex. All right. This computer is more expensive than the other one. Simple as that. This computer is much more expensive than the one we've just bought. We're making the sentence a little bit more complex. This computer costs 3 times as much as the other one. Alright? Making the sentence more complex. That mountain is by far, or is easily, the highest of all the ones we've already seen. He's without a shadow of a doubt the most brilliant scientist of all times. Okay, what are we doing? One more time. We're making a simple sentence, we're making it a little bit more complex by adding some information. Alright? Okay, well, you also need to know conditionals, and we can do the same thing with conditionals here. I'm not going to enter in detail, but as we know that we have the zero conditional, first, second, third, and mixed conditional, yeah. And perhaps we focus too much on the grammar part, or on the grammar rule of present simple, present simple, present simple, past simple, would plus. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's okay. But we need to see beyond that. I mean, it's a language. As I told you in one of the videos or one of the audios, it's a language. It's a living thing. It's used to communicate ideas, feelings. In general, everything we want to say is possible with language. So we need to understand more than the grammar rule. Okay, that's really important. It's also for your students. In case you're a teacher, make sure your student doesn't only focus on grammar. Okay, I'm sure we're looking at grammar right now, but as I tell you, we have to see beyond that. Okay, let's take a look at this. If I'm hungry, okay, let's see. If I'm hungry, I was going to change the color, but took too long. Okay, sorry. If I'm hungry, I eat a sandwich. Okay, this is a real thing, and it's real. Yeah, I eat a sandwich if I'm hungry. So I'm talking about something that is real and that happens in a general situation. So I can say also, whenever I'm hungry, I eat a sandwich. Every time I'm hungry, I eat a sandwich. Only if I'm hungry, I eat a sandwich. Okay? So notice that I can use different words instead of if. And the meaning, in some cases remains the same, but in other cases changes a little bit. Whenever, every time, it's that, right? Whenever is every time. Every time I'm hungry, I eat a sandwich. And we know this as zero conditional, and you know the rule, you have present, present. Alright, now let's go to the next one. If I don't study for the FCE, I will fail. Okay, what's the difference between the first sentence, the one in which I'm hungry and I eat a sandwich, and the second one? I'm talking about something specific. I could say, if I wanted to make this a sentence in a general sense, I would say something like, if I don't study, I fail. Every time I study, I don't fail. Every time I study, I pass. Whenever I study, I pass. But I'm talking about the FCE. I'm talking about this specific situation. So I say, if I don't study for the FCE, I will fail. In case I don't study for the FCE, I will fail. Now, I want to use another situation to make this easier to understand. It says, we'll serve the cake. Imagine this, okay? You are with your children or with your little brothers, sisters at home, and they want the cake. They want the cake, but they haven't finished their meal yet. So you say, we'll serve the cake once they finish their meal. Once they finish their meal. So we have to wait until they finish their meal in order to serve the cake. Yeah, we'll serve the cake only if they finish their meal. If they don't do it, we won't serve it. We will serve the cake on the condition that they finish their meal. Okay, it's a conditional. On the condition that is another way to say the same thing. We will serve the cake provided that they finish their meal. Provided that is an expression that means something similar. Just in case you don't know it, it's like saying siempre y cuando. Okay, siempre y cuando they finish their meal. All right. So this is the first conditional. It's a specific situation, but it's still true. It's still real. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. It says, I don't have a car. That's why I walk to work. That is an actual situation. Remember that actual doesn't mean present. It means real. Okay. I put it there just to make also the comparison between actual and actual, because you know that it's a false friend. Yeah, actual means present situation. I'm sorry, real situation doesn't mean present. I don't have a car, that's why I walk to work. Okay, this is the real situation, the actual situation. This leads me to make a lot of possible sentences. This gives me a lot of possibilities to say imaginary situations based on this truth. Okay, if I had a car, I wouldn't walk to work. If I had a car, I would drive to work instead. If only I had a car, I wouldn't have to walk to work, you know? I wish I had a car so I wouldn't have to walk to work. I wish I had a car so I would drive to work every day. So, notice that I can use different combinations and the grammar structure is always there. But again, it's not only, I mean, if maybe if I don't put I don't have a car and that's why I have to work, I walk to work, I see only the rules here. But the idea is that you notice the context also, because context is really important when dealing with a test, with an international exam. You cannot trust only grammar. You have to see one more time what is beyond. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Well, this is the third conditional, and the other one is the mixed one. Okay, let's go to the third conditional. It says this is the actual situation or the real situation in the past. Okay, I invested all my money in that business and so I made a fortune. Okay, notice that I'm talking about the past. It's something that really happened. Well, not didn't happen, but in the example it happened. Okay, I invested all my money in that business and so I made a fortune. If I hadn't invested on that business, I wouldn't have made a fortune. If I hadn't invested on that business, I wouldn't be a millionaire now. I wish I had invested more on that business. If I had invested more, I would have made more money. If only I had invested more, I would have made enough to achieve financial freedom. If only I had invested more, I would be resting on a sunny beach in the Caribbean right now. Okay, so notice that these are different combinations that I can use in order to create a hypothetical situation about something that happened in the past. Yeah. Now, I want you, this is like part of a homework, okay? If COVID-19 didn't exist, we probably wouldn't have met, okay? Because, well, this is true, we probably wouldn't have met. If COVID-19 hadn't appeared, classes online wouldn't have developed so fast. Now, I'm talking about COVID-19 because it's something that's real, yeah? I would like you to, of course, perhaps it's not the best topic to talk about, because a lot of people are suffering for this. But I would like you to send some sentences, okay, using if COVID-19. Okay, I'm sure you have a lot of things in your head. They can be about the present. They can be about, I mean, they can be in second conditional, third conditional. Uh, it's up to you. Mixed conditional. Okay. Let's move on. All right. Gerunds and infinitives. It's another thing that you have to know and that you were asking over the messages that I got. I got some messages in the group and others privately, which is okay. Okay, you can send them if you want to the group, if you want privately. All right. Gerunds and infinitives, that's really important. We have to know when to use them. There are no specific rules, okay? We have to get used to them, and we have to get used to um, the exceptions. Someone was asking for tricks or clues for the test, and one trick or something that is perhaps a pattern, something that usually happens, is that you always see this gerunds and infinitives. Another thing is that you always have the exceptions to the rule. Okay, if there's an exception, it's going to come in the exam. If the question or if the answer is too obvious, perhaps that's not the answer. Okay, it's another thing to take into account. Oh, this is easy. This is easy. This is this. If you don't know, if you're not sure, and it looks like that is the right answer, perhaps it isn't. Okay, and most of the times they use also false friends. We didn't talk about false friends in this on this opportunity, but I will deal with this on another occasion. Okay, false friends is very important too. And since we all speak Spanish as our mother tongue, I think, well, it's better because the exams are designed for the for certain countries also. Um okay, let's see. We use gerunds after prepositions. Yeah, good at, keen on, crazy about, interested in. She's good at dancing, crazy about dancing. For ing, before ing, after ing, prepositions plus ing. Thanks for coming, call me before coming, call me after finishing your meal. Now, we also use gerunds after, it's the same here, prepositions, but notice that they are followed by certain verbs, specific verbs. He apologized for arriving late. He insisted on driving even though he wasn't able to do it. Sarah succeeded in getting that scholarship. His friends congratulated him on passing the test, and she accused them of stealing her purse. This is also important because sometimes we want to translate from English into Spanish things that don't have the same structure in Spanish. Okay, for example, he apologized for arriving late. Se disculpó por llegar tarde. Okay, why not he apologized? I don't know, to arrive late. Well, that's a question that wouldn't be a right question. He insisted on driving. Why not insisted in driving? Yeah, those would be some questions that may appear. So what you have to do is to remember that this is something that you have to learn by heart. Okay, sometimes there's no specific explanation for this. Why not she accused them for stealing her purse? Accuse them of. It is not always a translation from Spanish to English or English to Spanish. Okay. I got a question about. I'm sorry. The boys are looking forward to going on that trip. This is always that way. Keep it in mind because it always comes in the exam. The other one also. She's getting used to doing exercise. They always come in the test. Okay, I got a question about this. Love, like, and mind are verbs that are followed by ing. Yeah, that's right. But why would, like, and would, love are plus infinitive? Yeah, when the verb is by itself, like I love drinking soda, I love I love drinking soda, yeah, or I don't mind opening the window. That's always followed by ing. By the way, love and like can also be followed by infinitive, okay? But and it's pretty much the same thing. But we're dealing with something that is a slight difference between American and British English, which we're not going to be dealing with today. But it's possible as well. But would like and would love are always followed. That combination, would like, would love, they are always followed by infinitive. I would love to see you soon. I would like to have some tea. And would mind is always followed by ing form, by gerund. Would you mind opening the window, please? Would you mind leaving the classroom, etc. Alright, now infinitives. There are certain verbs that are followed by infinitive, like in the case of want, decide, encourage, pretend. She wanted to go, he decided to follow. You have to learn this by heart, okay? It's not that difficult, in fact. There's a list of verbs that are followed by infinitives, and some of them are here. Some adjectives also that are followed by infinitive. It's difficult to follow these instructions. It's hard to see from this distance. I'm happy to help. And used to, when we talk about a habit in the past, yeah, notice that this used to here is different from be used to doing something. Okay, be used to doing something, that was the previous, in the previous example, that is be accustomed to doing something. In this case we have she used to play football, which means it was common for her to play football in the past, but it's not anymore. They didn't used to eat junk food. In the past they ate healthy food, but now they eat junk food. That's what it says here. All right. Okay. Now, something else that you have to get very familiar with, and that always comes in tests, is the active and passive forms. Okay. So, for example, we have also, I wanted to change the color, but I forgot, and I noticed that they are not in different colors. I'm sorry. They sell mobile phones in that shop. Yeah, they sell mobile phones in that shop. That's an active sentence. We have they are the subject, sell is the action, mobile phones is the object in that shop. Yeah, mobile phones are sold in that shop. Okay. Now notice that in the second sentence I don't mention who sells the mobile phones. Okay. It's not necessary. I could have said something like mobile phones are sold by them in that shop. Okay, but sentences are not always found like that, and it's not a natural way to speak as either. All right, the police arrested the criminals. The criminals were arrested by the police. Notice that in this case we always have the verb to be, but in the case, in the first case we have it in present form, so we have are. In the second case we have police arrested, so we have were arrested. And if we have the continuous form, like they are building a tower in the center of the city, a tower is being built in the center of the city. Okay, this is very common in the test also. This is just a very simple example of all the variations that we have in active and passive forms. And this is another example of something that is very common in passive forms. Yeah. And that always comes in tests. she's getting her hair done, or she's having her hair done. Yeah, both mean pretty much the same thing. They are doing her hair. What is do the hair? Arrange the hair, right? In the hairdressers. Tom's getting his car fixed. Tom is having his car fixed, which means that the mechanic is fixing Tom's car. Yeah, and they are getting their house cleaned. They are having their house cleaned. The workers are cleaning their house. It's always very, very common in the FCE. Now, word formation. Okay, this is another topic that we have to master. We need to study this in context, and we have to uh, see this specifically so we remember. It's kind of logical, okay? So that's why it's not that you have to memorize so many things, but logic works 90% of the times. The other 10% are exceptions, okay, or things that seem to be logical, but even though they are logical, they are incorrect, because as I told you, language is not as mathematics. It's based on the use, and sometimes successful and successless seems more logical than successful and unsuccessful, but successless doesn't exist. Okay, so that's why I tell you about logic here. But in 90% of the cases, as I repeat, you may give it a try. Yeah, if you're not sure about a word and you're in the test, you may guess, and perhaps you're lucky enough to succeed. All right. So prefixes. What are prefixes? They are parts of words that change the meaning of the word that follows. Like, for example, write or use. Rewrite, reuse means to write again, use again. Prejudge, preview, judge previously, yeah, or view previously. You have a book and you can preview the first 5 pages, and you have to pay for the rest. Overcook, overwork, yeah, too much, right? Oh, this meat is overcooked. I'm overworking, yeah, working too much. Perhaps you have felt that at some point in your life, yeah, that you're overworking. Underpay, also you may have felt something like that at some point in your life, yeah, that you're being underpaid. You're working a lot and you're not getting paid enough. You have to talk to your boss about it, right? Underwater, underwater, below water, right? Misbehave, behave wrongly, yeah, when your children misbehave, they don't do as you say. Or when a person is mistreated, yeah, they are treated badly. Notice that in this case it's not exactly, well, it's pretty much the same thing. Yes, misbehave, behave badly. Mistreat, treat badly. Self-confident, to the same person, yeah, confident in myself. uh, Self-organized, I can organize myself, yeah. So here we have a few examples of prefixes that are very common, and now prefixes that mean no, none, yeah, the opposite of. Notice that we have a lot of them, and here we have only 5 examples, okay. But I show you this so that you know that, one more time, you cannot say, ah, none is always with an. So this connect and connect, correct and correct, mature and mature. No, it depends on certain words. Now there are certain patterns: common and common, successful and successful, disconnect, well, connect, disconnect, organize, disorganized, correct, incorrect, credible, incredible, mature, immature, moral, immoral, resistible, irresistible, rational, irrational. Yeah. What are those patterns? For example, in mature and moral, you have I am, In Spanish, we normally have in, inmaduro, inmoral, and there's a rule that says you cannot put two M's together. That doesn't apply for English. Okay, in English is two M's together. And irresistible, you have the word that starts with R, so you have IR. Yeah. Now, suffixes. Suffixes are the part of the word that comes at the end of it, and normally it helps us define whether the word is a noun, an adjective, a verb, or something else. Okay, let's take a look at that. It says charity, priority. We're talking about nouns. Information, proposition, retirement, environment, selfishness, madness, relationship, partnership. Now, in the case of adjectives, we have envious, ridiculous, practical, musical, useful, beautiful, useless, pointless, right? I would like you to send to the group, if possible, some more examples of this, okay? Words with suffixes and prefixes. I'm going to stop the video right now. It's a bit late here also, and I want to be able to send you this. So I hope you can watch it. I'm sure I don't want to make it longer either, because as I tell you, it may become a bit boring, dull, I don't know. So this is enough for the moment. I'm going to send you another video with some additional information. Thank you very much for watching this one, and this is it. Thanks a lot. Okay, how do I get out of here?